Once you have created your class notebook via Office 365 and you have launched it into the OneNote for Windows 10 app, your screen should look very similar to what you're seeing on my screen. So in this video, I'm just going to give you a little tutorial of the interface of what a class notebook will look like using the OneNote for Windows 10 app. It does look different if you are using the OneNote desktop application versus using the online version. So this video is specific to Windows 10. So you can see here upon my notebook downloading from Office 365 after being created, on the left-hand side over here is the name of my notebook. Underneath my notebook, I have the welcome page, which is a default that comes with every class notebook. And then I have the sections of my notebook that were automatically generated. So I have the collaboration space. So when you go ahead and click on the collaboration space and you go to that section, you'll see an intro page here. And the collaboration page, the collaboration space section is an area where both teachers and students can annotate, read, and write. Students have as much access to this as you do, so at the beginning of the school year, this is an area that you might want to turn off access until you have your routine established, which can be done inside of Office 365. The other part of your notebook that's going to be very important is your content library. Your content library is your digital filing cabinet, and that's where you're going to be putting in all the work that you want your students to have access to. Now, the content library is read-only to the students, and what that means is they can view what is in the content library as a student, but they cannot annotate on top of it. It is read-only. This protects it so nobody is making a mess of any of the work that you enter in. If they want to annotate on it, it either needs to be distributed to them or they need to bring a copy over into their own notebook, which is a video for another time. You also have the teacher-only section, and this is a private section that only you and any co-teachers in your notebook can see. So if you have content that you want to put in your notebook but you're not ready to share it with the students, you can put it in this teacher-only section. And then below your content library and your collaboration space, you will see a list of all of your students who are enrolled in your class notebook. And if I click on one of my students, I can see all of the sections that I have designated for them. Just keep in mind, in the content library you have to design from scratch. So the sections that you create for your students are not going to be the same sections that appear in the content library unless you manually create them. So now that you have an idea of the different components of your class notebook, we're just going to go around the toolbar a little bit just so you can see some of the tools that are available here. So under your Home tab, you have a lot of the same formatting options that are available in virtually any Microsoft product. You have all of your formatting options, your fonts, you also have bulleted lists, etc. And over here you also have a dictate option, which we'll go over in another video. Under the Insert menu, you also have some important options, particularly when it pertains to your content library, where you can insert files or you can insert a printout of a document. You also have the ability to insert pictures, online video, you can record your own audio, you can include hyperlinks, and there's some other tools down here as well where you can insert math equations and symbols. The Draw tab is going to be very important, particularly for your students, because this is where students are going to be able to use these pen tools to annotate or draw or write on anything that you ask them to do in their own personal notebook. So there is eraser, markers, and you have a number of different options to choose from in terms of color schemes. You have the option here that says draw with mouse or touch, so students can click on this to use these tools if they're not using a stylus. And you also have shapes and ink to shape, a ruler, and some math equations as well. Under the View menu, there's a few different options that we'll go over. The Immersive Reader is something we'll go over in another video, but this is a really helpful tool if you have students who are struggling and need to have text read to them. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can change the background color of your OneNote pages. So if you don't like the standard default of white, you have some options. Another feature that I think is often missed that is available here is ruled lines. OneNote, when you create pages, is a blank canvas, but if you do want blank ruled lines in your the pages that you are inserting into OneNote, you have that option as well. And then we're just going to go over here to this little class notebook toolbar, which we'll have another video on. And this class notebook toolbar is very important to manage your class notebook. It comes with OneNote for Windows 10. There's no need to install it separately. It will be there for you as soon as you open up OneNote for Windows 10. Lastly, when you come down over here to the content library and to the collaboration space and all your other sections in your notebook, you will see underneath that you have the ability to add additional sections to the content library and additional pages. So this column here represents sections, and then this column here represents the pages on that particular section. So right now you can see that I'm on my content library, and if I open that content library up, I'm currently right now viewing the math section of my content library, and within my math section I have these pages. So I have separated my math section into various units, and these are all the pages that are in my math section. You can have as many sections as you want in a digital notebook, so if I wanted to add another category in my content library or another section, I could do so just by clicking Add Section, and then I could put in another category that I want available for my students in the content library. So once I have created that, you can see here there is a blank page associated with special projects, but I can add additional pages to that section of the notebook. And that's just a little brief overview of the interface of OneNote for Windows 10. There are a lot of other tools in here that we're going to explain and go through in future videos, but just so you're aware of how to kind of get around OneNote for Windows 10, I'm hoping this video will help.